What's up, everybody? It's a beautiful day in Miami, and I'm about to head to the beach, but I wanted to quickly share this story, record this video. I don't know why. I guess to vent, maybe for validation, but I've been thinking about it all night, all morning. Probably will think about it for the next few days, because that's how I tend to be. But I have to get this off my chest. So I joined a beach club here in Miami. At these beach clubs, you meet interesting characters because they're very expensive. They're like thousands of dollars every year. So the kind of person who's going to throw down money for a beach club, like there's already a certain socioeconomic privilege there. So I've met some interesting characters, and one of the characters I've met is this older gentleman who is 60 years old. And it's funny how the first time I met him at one of their happy hours at the beach club, I had a feeling he was gay, but I didn't know for sure. And the more we talked, the more I realized I was right. And he wanted to stay in touch. And so my first thought, of course, is like, is this person just a genuine person who's looking for new people to get to know, especially gay people? Or, when somebody's literally twice your age, you get suspicious about what their agenda might be, right? At least I am. I've learned to be mindful of that. And I ended up finding out that he was very into much younger guys. Like he has a boyfriend slash like sugar baby who's 20 years old, literally, which, gave me some pause because even if both want that, like I remember being 20 and thinking this, I'm attracted to this 40 something year old man. This is what I want. This is what, but when you're that age, you're not fully developed yet as an adult who has his own identity and everything. So hearing about this dynamic and then seeing it, I ended up meeting the 20-year-old boyfriend. There's something about it just made me feel very uncomfortable. And the older man is very successful. So it just made me think about like how to want to be with somebody that young, like the power dynamics there, and maybe I did project, but I was thinking, I feel like this is somebody who uses money to impress people to get whatever he wants, whatever it is, whether it's appropriate or not. Anyway, this is just context. That night that I met him, which was about a month ago, at that happy hour, he said, hey, we should stay in touch. You should come to my wine tasting. He owns a wine company. The wine tasting was last night. So flash forward weeks later to last night, I'm excited for a wine tasting because how often do you go to a wine tasting event with somebody who really knows what they're talking about? He owns this company. So he had pitched it to me as like, I'll be his guest. I'll be his plus one. I show up to the event. I looked really cute. Like I wanted to look like a young professional at a wine tasting. I just had a very cute, like vineyard chic look. And I thought I was going to mingle with these people at the wine tasting event. And I show up, and the older gentleman is like, I desperately need your help. By the way, I don't know if my hair looks crazy. I haven't even showered. Yeah, it does, right? I woke up not that long ago. I never do a video before showering and everything, but I really just had to vent, and then I'm going to move on with my day. So he's like, I really need your help. There's nobody here helping me. And there literally was, when I showed up, there was one person who seemed to be a staff member assisting somewhat, but she was barely helping. He asked her to help him open wine bottles. There were literally like 50 wine bottles that he was opening by himself. Remember, this is like a multi-millionaire. This is his event. And he's just opening wine bottles by himself. There's 50 bottles. And this woman barely helps. She's like, oh, I'm just not really good at this. So he enlists me. He's like, can you help with this? So of course I don't hesitate. I'm going to help him. He needs help. So I literally spent like half an hour manually opening wine bottles. I was annoyed, but he needs, somebody needs help, you help, right? But it's funny how like I already started feeling a pressure. I guess because I thought I was there as a guest. And here I am doing like labor. And you try opening 30 bottles in a row. Like it was a task. So once I finished helping with the bottles, then he's like, listen, I'm going to need you to help me pour wine to these people throughout the event. And I look around and there's like a U-shaped table. There's like at least 30 chairs, like 30 people who are going to be in attendance. So in the moment, I'm like, okay, I'll help you pour. Like, again, somebody needs your help, you want to help. We ended up serving 13 different wines at this wine tasting. So I got up every few minutes from me being a guest, supposedly being a guest, to like helping serve these old rich white people, basically. And with every time going around serving people, with this older man also serving them, and nobody else, no staff, nobody there to help. It was like Twilight Zone. There were a few, again, staff members, I guess maybe of the event space itself. They were just standing awkwardly in the back. Like, I don't know what their purpose was, but I felt so uncomfortable because I got roped into basically working an event, essentially. And this isn't somebody I know well. This isn't like a close friend saying, hey, calling me beforehand, before the event, saying, hey, I desperately need your help for this event. Can you volunteer? I'll make it up to you. Whatever. This was not that dynamic. I show up thinking I'm going to be a guest for this cool event, and then I end up in this like subservient role to these old rich white people, and I felt so uncomfortable. And as I'm sure you guys know, with people like that, some of them were nice and normal, and they'd be like, thank you so much, like, can I take a picture of the wine that you're serving us, like just normal stuff. And then some of them have a little bit of an attitude, like they think you're the help, they think you're the help. And I went through a real mindfuck this whole night, because as I'm getting like angrier inside and wanting and feeling like trapped and feeling like I want to like yell and get out of this situation that I did not sign up for, then I'm kind of mad at myself too, that I'm thinking, why is this bothering me so much? Like, you know, you go to a restaurant, there's servers, like there's nothing wrong with it. But then I realized what's really upsetting me is to be reminded, to be triggered by that experience that I haven't felt since I was like in my early to mid 20s, in those kinds of roles where people speak to you like you're beneath them. And that was the trigger. It was being in a dynamic where you know for sure these people don't look at you as an equal, but you showed up thinking you were going to be an equal, that you were a guest. So throughout this night, I'm boiling more and more, getting angrier. And of course, what happens with people like this is when they start to see you that way, it's locked in. So by the last wine pour, it was solidified for these people that I'm like, they're helping. And by the way, me being the way I am, when people would ask me questions when I would come around to serve, when they would say, hey, like, which wine is this? Or how long have you been working for? I'd be like, oh no, I'm not working here. I'm a friend who got roped in. Like, I didn't care. Like, I was just totally blunt. But it doesn't matter, because when people see you that way, and I've learned that the hard way from the jobs that I had in my early 20s, when you're at a company long enough, it doesn't matter how many times you get promoted, how smart you are, how capable you are. There are some people who will always look at you as like the intern, the assistant. Doesn't matter how many years you've been there, how accomplished you are, how much you have to offer. And after that last pour, I remember thinking, maybe I can turn this around. Maybe I can do this with grace and humility and just intermingle with these people so that at least I get something out of it, selfishly. And after that last pour, this woman approached me, and I thought she was going to come just to like talk. And she goes, can you get me another of the last wine? And this was the same woman who just 10 minutes ago, I thought it had clicked with her because of something she had asked me, and I had said, oh, I'm actually not working here. I'm supposed to be a guest too. Like, I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to shame this older man who put me in this situation. I don't care. I thought she got it then. So to have somebody look you in the eyes and really be convinced that you're there to serve them and to cater to their needs when you made it clear that that's not your role, to me, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I literally, just to be kind, whatever, I went to get her the last wine, I poured it for her, and I walked straight out of the event. I didn't say bye to anybody. I didn't go talk to the older gentleman from my beach club. I just left. And a few minutes later, he texted me and he was like, "Where did you go? I was going to take you to dinner." I was like, I sent a long text. I was like, I felt totally humiliated. I felt very uncomfortable with this dynamic. I didn't go through everything I've been through in my 20s and horrible jobs and being treated like shit to get to this like apex professionally and financially, to then show up to an event and be looked at like I'm invisible, like I'm the help. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I think people like this man, going back to him having, this young sugar baby boyfriend, running this big company, I feel like people like this look at people in categories, and it's like you're either, a competitor or on their wavelength, or you're just there to like work for them, to cater to them. And that's how I felt. I felt like he had no awareness of boundaries or respect. I think it was a huge trigger for me too, because as a gay person, as an immigrant, as a mixed person, like you have all these complexes in the back of your mind, and then they get awakened through moments like this where you're reminded that you're perceived as not equal to somebody, like not of equal standing to somebody. And I felt so insulted. Like I came home, I was so upset. And then you go again through this like mind fuckery of like, am I being high maintenance that somebody needed help and I'm making this about me? Like I get it that this was his huge event. He's doing a wine tasting. The last thing he's going to be worried about is the ego of some guy he met who, is there helping out. But on the other side, I'm thinking, if this was my event, if my company's reputation, my brand is at stake, like I would have made sure that there's staff there. Like I would, if I saw employees standing in the back, I'd be like, listen, I know this isn't your job to help me pour wine, but can you please help me? And I will gift you, a gift bag from our company of our best top wines, or I'll write you a check. Like if I'm going to be friends with a 60-year-old man, I expect him to be that kind of 60-year-old man who can be like a mentor to me. So I was turned off by what happened in every single way. When I sent that long text, he responded and was like, I didn't see it this way. I'm sorry to have made you feel this way, blah, blah, blah. I didn't answer. I don't want to engage with this person. I think people like this are kind of delusional about like when you have that much money and you're used to having that much money for so long, I feel like people live in a bubble and they're delusional about how to treat other people. The bottom line is, if you see somebody as an equal, you don't feel comfortable roping them in like that to help run your event as a server. Or I would have felt differently, honestly, if he started the event saying, this is my friend, he's here helping me because we're short-staffed. But I ended up being presented in every way as if I was like the help, and it made me really uncomfortable. And I wasn't gonna make a scene about it. Like this man needs help, okay, I'll help you. But in my mind, I was like, this is it. Like after this, I never want to speak to you again, because to me, that's a sign of poor character. It's interesting how the way I felt is a very specific experience that I think a lot of people just can't relate to because they've never been there, right? Like a lot of people have never been poor, have never been somebody's assistant, somebody's intern, have never been in a role where they're not calling the shots. And so there's almost like a lack of, I don't know, empathy maybe, where they can't relate to that feeling of like you are powerless or you are subservient. And I guess it's a trigger for me. I didn't even realize until this happened, but it made me realize how at the end of the day, I can never relate to people like this. Like I can't fully connect with somebody who handles a situation that, for me, coldly, and that in the end you would still be seen a specific way that's the opposite of how you want to be perceived. But like some people will never be able to see you as anything other than someone that's there to cater to them.